Welcome to From Poundland to Paradise, your guide to all things Walsall FC. I'm Craig Resnick-Hansen, he's Joe Cheeseman, and today we're going to get into the whole of the 2023-24 season for the Sadlers. Let's get right into it. So, Joe, how you doing?
All good, yeah, not too bad, can't complain.
So I think what most Walsall fans want from a podcast like this to kick it off is to talk about the Euros. So how excited are you? Have you got England fever?
Yeah,
Clearly
man.
I've got England fever.
It's getting in there, yeah, I can see you obviously have overtly, but yeah.
Fever!
Let's go, man, yeah, he's going to be sick. But you are obviously travelling to Germany, so that's going to be way more exciting for
But do you think Southgate is another PE teacher though? Do you think the same people who hate the PE teacher at Walsall hate the PE teacher at England? Probably.
I could see that happening, yeah, definitely.
What do you think for our chances? Do you reckon without DJ in the squad, England could still go all the way?
No chances. No way, guys. Are you
Well,
with
that's
me?
enough of that Euro stuff. But as you said, I will be in Germany visiting my in-laws for a couple of weeks. I will be getting to a couple of games. No England games, sadly, because none of them are happening where I am. But should be fun. But let's get down to business then. We've got a few talking points we want to go over. But first of all, now the dust has properly settled, we've had probably, what has it been, like a month and a half now since the last game of the season.
Yeah.
So it's been quite a while. Chance to think it over. What are your overall thoughts on the season?
Yeah, it was a very up and down season, but evidently a good season. You can't undeniably a good season statistically. So yeah, that's how I'm feeling. Really, yeah, it's feeling like it's good. Yeah, another roller coaster really, but I think in the end it's a massive improvement and it's looking up in general. What do you think?
Well, like you said, statistically, that's something we'll come on to in more detail in a minute. But it's been a better season than most people might think, especially the real Sadler haters.
Yeah.
It's been statistically the best season since we've been in League Two on so many metrics.
There you go.
And even in terms of excitement on the pitch, and I think in terms of the players that we've got, I think it's been a good season. I hope we can build on it next year. But overall, disappointment of missing out on the playoffs aside, it's been a good run. But let's touch on a few of the big things today that sort of defined our season. I guess the first one is, like you said, the roller coaster of Sadler. Yeah. I was in and out like about 10 times over the season.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are just, half the fan base seems to just be all in and half of them are all out.
Yeah.
It's been, very up and down with runs of good form and then runs of bad form. But overall, he's done a good job, which I'm going to go into in a second in more detail. But what are your general thoughts on Sadler and how he managed to perform in his first full season in charge?
Yeah, it's mad. It is crazy how well he did, basically. I'm very happy with how he did. And although at times it seemed like it was going to flop, he definitely brought it back round. And then obviously, like you said about a bit gutted about the playoffs. I was just thinking, obviously I was gutted about the playoffs. They'd gutted at the time, but then thinking about it now, you think, well, it was amazing. You know what I mean? And with all the injuries, all the factors within there. And it was his first season as a manager. We did incredibly, and we only just really missed out on the playoffs. 11th isn't really reflective of where we were really. It was just
he went
tight.
to the last day technically, didn't he?
Exactly.
I think so.
Yeah. So
it doesn't. It's a lot better than 11th.
Saying 9th or something just seems like wow, top 10. You know what I mean? Like, but it's small margins, I guess, in League Two.
Absolutely.
Well, for the 23 to 24 season.
And he made us believe, like you said. We were in and around the playoffs until the very end. We had a real shot, and that isn't something we've been able to say since we've come down to League Two. Let's have a little look at how it's actually been on paper. So for Mat Sadler, in the full season and the 2 or 3 games he had at the end of the last season, in all competitions, he's got a 36.84 win percentage over 57 games. And that is versus, in sort of chronological order, going backwards, Michael Flynn 30.9, Mat Taylor 25, Brian Dutton 15% in his 20 games, and the great Daryl Clark, who many people thought did a great job at the time, especially many neutrals. Maybe a lot of Walsall fans hate him for various reasons, but
yeah, definitely.
Especially the choices he made.
But a
lot
of people go back to, he was good though.
But he was good though. If we had Daryl Clark, blah blah blah, 32.9%.
Yeah.
So he had the best win percentage since we've been relegated to League Two. We finished 11th, which, like you said, isn't really accurate. Really, we finished like 9th, but fine. Call it 11th.
In that 4, basically.
Even that,
below
16th, 16th, 19th, and 12th going backwards. So under Clark, when we first came down, when you would argue we were in the best position to go straight back up, he only managed to finish 12th. Then it's 19th, 16th, 16th, and now it's 11th and bordering on the playoffs. And here's where it gets interesting as well. You could think, we're going to try and dissect why so much of the fan base hates Sadler, why included I at times have hated him as well. And I've been trying to sort of do a bit of soul searching about why that is, because another statistic that's very interesting, right? 69 goals in League Two we scored last season.
Yeah, it's mad.
Versus 46, 47, 45 and 40 in the previous season.
That's a massive difference when you read out the
30 goals, pretty much
percentages.
more than Clark managed.
Yeah, 30, that's mad. That's a huge amount, you know what I mean? That's a real kind of season changer, like amount of goals type thing. But the percentages were quite like close in margin, but that's not close at all. You know what I mean?
No, exactly.
And then when you think that one of the main issues that obviously we are going to come on to was Danny Johnson's on the bench. He's the goal scorer, but we scored way more goals than we have done in League Two since we came down.
Absolutely.
From League One, that's mad.
If we were a bit tighter at the back,
so we need to,
which improved after the young lads came in the second half of the season.
Well, that's it, yeah,
maybe if we'd had them for the whole season, or if we had just overall a better back line.
Or not injured, not the injuries.
We might have performed better on the goals conceded. Goals conceded, we had 73, which again is the highest in League Two. We had before that 49, 60, 53 and 49.
Okay, so yeah, there we see the holes.
So that's why we ended up not going up, is that, like you said, it's not... The trying to figure out why everyone hates him, right? One big one is the DJ thing. He doesn't play DJ. Okay, we'll come on to DJ, but he doesn't play him.
Yeah, that's...
Well, like you said, it ain't like goals scored is a problem. Goals conceded is a problem. So I can't imagine how, given the fact that he doesn't press at all off the ball, and when you play him, you have 10 men defending instead of 11. I can't imagine how that's going to improve that metric.
Doesn't fit the system.
And another reason why a lot of managers get hated, even when they do quite well, if you look at like David Moyes at West Ham, for example, like, it's boring, or Southgate, boring.
Yeah,
I know we get to all these semis and that, and we're normally been shit for our whole existence, but it's boring though. Well, this ain't boring, you know what I mean? It's like, this is like insanely above all the other seasons. We're scoring goals for fun. So, we're conceding goals for fun as well, but I just don't get why. What's your theory on why Sadler is so divisive, for want of a better word?
There's so many factors, and there's so many factors, like from the get-go, maybe at the start of his last season. I'd say that it's because he was looked at as the cheap option, so it was bad going in. Everyone was like judging him like, he's going to be terrible. But I mean, at the start of the season, we were all thinking like, he's been caretaker a couple of times, but apart from that, he's got no experience, and we're not doing the best. 16th that we were thinking, we finished 16th, another mid-table, and now we've got a manager that isn't, no one's got anything to say about him really, so it's like a bit worrying, but that's one of the starting factors. And then
they hated him going in.
It's just they hated him going in is the main factor, I think, at the start, and then it was the inconsistency, but that again was brought on by what I kept talking about, what I've been talking about, the injuries. You know what I mean? We had Clark-Carson we've had him signed for the whole season, I think, not in January. It was for the whole season.
He's ours.
Yeah, and he played about 20
and
games or something.
And he continues to be ours, I think.
He does, and I'm happy about that, because I think he's really good. And
so if he'd have played properly all season, maybe that goals conceded would have been lower.
Because we had Harry Williams, who did really well in his place, or what was to be his place, and he did great, but it's just evidently he didn't do good enough, you know.
But when he came back, he never looked like the same player, did he? I think he'll kick on again next year, but
that's it.
I just don't think he really found his full fitness, and we ended up relying on them kids we brought in, didn't we? Really,
Exactly.
Kagbue and Adegboyega, they were amazing.
And they did again.
And Alan did brilliant.
As nobody would have seen coming, they did amazing. But then Daniels went out for that period, and then he came back, and he wasn't as hot as he was. So it's just all these. There's just so many factors, really. But yeah, the DJ thing, obviously, as well. You know, he was like the star boy from last season.
But you
and
think
we've
the
got him
fans
back,
don't
and it's
take
like,
into
oh my
account
God.
the injuries, basically? They just look at...
No. It's hard to take into account the injuries. They see that as separate, I think. Most people will
Where are
see
their expectations at, though, as well? Because with or
totally
without
separate.
injuries, if you finish 11th, I mean... Why is he so hated? It's not like we're 20th. I mean...
Yeah. If we were
don't know.
20th, I still wouldn't hate him as much. I'd be like, well, he's his first time managing. He's got a lot to learn. Maybe
We're
we
probably
should
a bit
get
more
someone else
lenient.
in,
Well,
but
you're definitely more lenient than
I'm
the
more
average.
lenient, yeah, but I'm still saying we should maybe get a new manager in the summer.
I blow
if
hot
that
and
was the
cold
case.
with you.
Yeah.
But even at my worst time, I don't think I can think finishing 11th is bad.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The proof is in the pudding, and it's not like, again, it's like the whole not getting into the playoffs is now like a factor to hate, because it's like it looks like we were like, oh yeah, we're in the playoffs, like it's gonna happen type thing, and if anything happens, it's his fault type thing.
Yeah, but
Where
I
it's
think
not.
that's
It's
a bit
it was
dumb,
really
isn't it?
close, and you know we came off a bad run.
If we
and then a
bottled it,
really
then
good
that
run.
isn't necessarily his fault. It goes on the
Yeah.
players as well.
Exactly.
I mean,
And it's the
maybe he was a
inconsistency.
part of the bottling as well, but it's not only him. But
Yeah.
I just think the fact that we're in the position, I think it's brilliant, and
Yeah. I think it's easy to
my
blame the manager.
expectations were
Basically.
lower, I guess.
I think it's easy to blame the manager, and especially an inexperienced one, to just say, oh, he doesn't know what he's doing, get him out, when there's loads of other stuff going on behind the scenes, and obviously injuries is the main thing. I think that people don't realise that's why that's why they were looking like negatively on him, you know what I mean? Because
that's why we were consistent, and then he gets all the hate because it's very much that like old school approach of like the manager is the be all and end all, and if anything's going wrong with the club,
exactly,
which I think is a bit of a small club, old school way of looking at it. Really, I don't think the more enlightened side of the football world in the modern day looks at it that way. There's so many moving parts. It's not all about just the coach.
Exactly,
But
especially
a lot
at
of
this
all
level.
these problems we talked about, all these sort of reasons to hate, are like sort of well documented on Twitter. You know what I mean? The sort of the DJ decision, the inconsistency, and all this stuff, and comparing him to previous managers, even though he did better than them. But I think there's a couple of other sort of harder to see things that this is a bit more speculative. But I think there's something about him, because if you look at the stats, and if you look at the fact that it's entertaining, because there's loads of goals going in at both ends, with, you know, we're doing winning more games, scoring more goals. We just missed out on the playoffs. I think it's something about him. Not that I'm criticising him, it's not his fault, but I think it's the way people look at him. I think one thing is he doesn't come across very passionate on the touchline for a start.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
I can understand as a fan as well, it is annoying.
Yeah, so you're looking at him and you're like,
he's just like, duh, 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 and you just like get angry, you know what I mean? But it's a
Get
really thick
passionate,
way
yeah.
of looking at it, because that doesn't actually change, and that's not how
that
the
won't
game works. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
How
that's the
angry you are on the
tiny-
touchline doesn't equate to how many games you're going to win.
or animated anyway. Yeah,
But it make a lot of managers actually who are quite shit get by on that for a long time, because fans see them as, they give them extra rope because they're
exactly.
passionate.
Flynn won definitely.
For
I
example,
think,
at our
yeah.
level, you could look at Flynn, and higher up, you can look at, you know, various cases where people are doing that.
Yep.
And I think the same thing in the press conferences. He's just not that sort of animated, especially when we lose. He doesn't go in on the players' 2 feet, and he doesn't sort of, you know, he's just not very aggy, and I think maybe that rubs some fans the wrong way. There's got to be something like that, because on paper it doesn't
Like you
make
said
sense.
in the interviews as well, when they, you said this earlier, when we were losing or not getting the results we wanted, like it was like he wasn't just straight up blaming players and being like, oh, I need to whip him into shape type thing, with a whole like old school kind of aggy attitude of like, oh fuck's sake, and being dead passionate about it. He is passionate about it, but like you say, well, I think he is.
But I think he's professional. He knows how to manage his emotions and be professional.
Yeah.
I mean, all good young managers are like that. Like, it's normal.
There you go. Exactly, a young manager as well. So it's all different at this level. You do get young managers, but yeah, I don't know. It's just a weird one.
Well, one of the big things that he got a lot of flack for, and from me as well, various points of the season I was at it as well, and then I sort of cooled off on it later, is the DJ thing, the DJ question. Yeah, you know, the DJ question that needs a solution. And we didn't get the final solution for DJ because he is back in the squad next year. So he got 14 goals in 27 in all comps during his 6-month loan with us. And then last season he got 6 goals in 26. So it's a bit of a drop off. Admittedly, a lot of them were probably coming off the bench, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
He gets this reputation online as a proven League 2 goal scorer. Now, when I think of or proven EFL goal scorer even, when I think of that across all 3 tiers, I'm thinking someone who's scored 20, 30 goals a season for like 10 years. And there are a bunch of examples out there, proper EFL legends, you know what I mean, veterans.
Yeah.
This is not the case. Since non-league, where he did bang them in at non-league level, since then, he had his bright spot at Leyton Orient, where he scored 17 in 42 League 2 games in the one season. Apart from that, and the 6-month loan spell at us, he's done nothing.
That's crazy.
He was in Scotland for a while, did nothing. Mansfield, nothing. They were happy to let him go on loan to us initially. Brought him back really just to spite us,
to
so we couldn't compete.
We
with
know,
them for the playoffs.
everyone knows that was just
didn't care about playing him, and then released him. And then they said, you know, go on, go to Walsall if you want.
Yep.
There's always rumours about his attitude and his discipline and punctuality and all this stuff. Apparently that's why, you know, he didn't get on well with Clough at Mansfield, apparently. And there's always rumours about maybe he don't get on with Sadler for that reason. We had some jokes back in the day, well, say back in the day at the start of the season about, like, you know, what's he done to rub Sadler the wrong way? The way I come down on it now is Sadler's shown statistically that, I mean,
we don't need him.
I don't even think it's a leap to say that he's our best manager since we've been in League 2. 100%. I mean, on paper, he is, absolutely.
Yeah.
The only way you could say he isn't is if you reckon we've got, like, the best players ever and we should be walking the league, which I just think is daft. We have no particularly better players than we had under Clark, I don't think.
No.
So he's doing a cracking job. And if he thinks DJ shouldn't play for whatever reason, be it tactical, doesn't fit into the system, behavioural, whatever it is,
all of them factors.
I'm happy to back him, basically. But I mean, where do you stand on the DJ thing? What is that? It's the opposite of Sadler. What is with that obsession with DJ? I know he did well for 6 months. Freddie Draper did well for 6 months. I don't hear people saying we need to, you know, kidnap him, bring him round. We've had tons of players over the years who've done well for us, and we're not. There's this. It's like he's like a holy man. You know what I mean? He's adored. I've never seen anything. Honestly, it's like Leto level of legend crazy, of the club, and I just think, what's that all about?
Because I think because he came in at a time of a kind of our lowest time. You know what I mean? So we're off the back of 19th, right?
Yeah.
So I think was it Matty Taylor? No, it was.
Let me think. When we finished 19th, would have been.
No, yeah.
Maybe Taylor?
Or was it that?
Or it wouldn't have been Clark.
No, it wouldn't have been Clark.
Taylor, I think.
Clark was 12th, wasn't it? And then...
It might have been when Flynn took over halfway through for Taylor, I can't remember. But anyway, 19th, just absolutely
so we're thinking, this is awful. Get Matty Taylor. Does an awful job again. Get Flynn at the end. We got Flynn at the end of his season, and I think it was 16th, wasn't it? Definitely. And then, so we've got Flynn now, and we're thinking, this is sick. And then we've got DJ and, he's banging goals in from that first day of the season. Remember, the first day of the season?
Yeah.
It was like
love at first sight,
4-0 or something like that. Exactly, yeah. So it's like, his love at first sight. He got hat-tricks. He was smashing him, wasn't he?
Yeah,
and it's a whole heartbreak.
It was beautiful.
He's gone back to Mansfield. He was smashing him in what could have been. Now he's back. This is, you know what I mean? It's just like this big story kind of like...
Maybe they're just more loyal than I am. I'm more jaded, I suppose. They must be that loyal.
I'm not loyal to any players,
because I'm over it. You know what I mean? I felt like that as
unless,
well.
Like you say, they've been doing it for unless the player's been with us for at least 2 years and they've been banging them in, or just performing well in those 2 years consistently.
Or even if you can look back over the years and say that before then they had multiple seasons where they were up there in the top 5 goals. So it ain't been the case with him, but
not at all.
I think you're right. It's a romantic thing, I suppose. People are just still attached to that 6 months.
They're attached to it. Yeah.
But how long can they stay living in this idea that because of that 6 months, it's guaranteed that if he started every game But then they'll see every so often, like when he came on late and scored that goal that saved us towards the end of the season when we were there. I can't remember who we were playing.
I can't remember who it was, but
feels like a lifetime ago now.
It does, doesn't it?
But
it's mad.
Like, I think that then they'll go see. You know what I mean? If you played every week, and I just don't. I don't buy it. To be fair,
yeah, it's not realistic.
He played every week for plenty of other teams, and he ain't do that.
Exactly. If you actually look into it, which I don't think many people do. I don't think without this podcast I'd look into it as much. I think I was, you know what I mean, but not as much as we do now. So
yeah.
I don't think most fans, the majority of fans, do not look into it as much. They hear a couple of things on like Express and Star, and if anything, what the club and the local publications say about a player coming in is always going to be positive. You know what I mean? So you're not looking at objective like news.
Preparing for this, I read like the club statement or whatever when they signed him, and like they were having it on that like after non-league he was just banging it in all the time for everyone. Basically, he was an absolute god like every season.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
I've just looked at all the numbers. It's like so isn't true.
He could have came and he could have done like what he did this season and just not performed and sat on the bench.
Yeah, exactly.
And then nobody would have cared about Danny Johnson.
I'm not going to say he was lucky, but I think he had a good spell. He had a good spell.
I think we had a good team as well at the start with Bennett. I think Bennett was a big part of his shine.
Bennett really helped him.
Service, you know what I mean? He was getting the service from Bennett.
Because people say, if you put him in the box and give him a chance, he'll score, and that is true.
And that is true, but you need the service as well.
Unless you've got, like, someone like Bennett, who for my money will end up playing in the Premier League. Absolutely outrageous player, probably one of the best players we've ever had.
I can see, definitely
unreal.
See him
it's easy to be in the right place at the right time, getting them tap-ins all the time, money. When he's whipping these mad balls in, you can't, like at League 2 level, our players aren't necessarily good enough to get all of them right. You need someone who can also do everything else, make a goal for himself.
At this level, it's like all-rounder players. It's not just a simple, we need a guy that just taps in type
Can
thing.
you shoot from the edge of the box and put it in the top corner? Can you get on the end of them balls in from the wing back? But can you also come short and get the ball and go past a couple of players? Can you do a bunch of different things to score different types of goals?
Exactly.
We can't rely on, if we had Trent Alexander-Arnold putting the ball on a sixpence every time he'd score, but we don't know any. So
that's the simple fact.
We did when he scored all them goals when we had Bennett, but then since he's not been playing with Bennett anymore, if your argument is play DJ every week and get someone as good as Bennett to be there, I mean, it's fine, but that ain't that realistic. There aren't that many players as good as him who are going to play for us.
It's mad. So
he was the real hero of that 6 months that no one remembers. You know what I mean?
I totally agree. And
he was the player,
and we knew that as well. You know what I mean? At the time, we knew that Bennett was the main thing.
I love how this is a 2023-24 podcast, and all we're doing is talking about DJ. The first half of Mickey Flynn's reign. But God, I remember the first time I saw Bennett play.
But I think he was like
when he was a trialist when we played Villa, I think, or something like that.
He was like trialist B or F.
Yeah, I don't think he was even like named or whatever. And I was like, who's that little blonde kid? He is amazing. I don't think them kind of players who make you sit up and go.
Yep. We
don't really have anyone like that anymore. We have a lot of good players, but we don't have anyone that makes me just go, what is that? That doesn't look right in our team.
Not that consistent as well, because, I think this season maybe Draper made you do that. Made everyone do that.
Yeah, for the fact, but again, it's a first 6 months thing, and it's another heartbreak.
Another heartbreak.
I don't know. But, the DJ conundrum goes on because he remains at the club.
Yeah, which we're going to go on to, but yeah.
Which I'm fine with. I mean, I wouldn't play him every week. But
I think he's great backup.
Good backup, yeah.
I think I'd keep him as well, as much as I say, like, everyone's loving him for no reason. Like, I'd keep him. I want to keep him. And he should, if we're struggling, just come on at like 75, 80 minutes and just...
And I don't even mind starting him
he's got in his tank, probably.
Well, let's see if he finds a tactical way. If it works, it works. I wouldn't begrudge him playing every game and scoring loads of goals. Just we'll see what happens. He's a good option, and maybe he'll play a bigger role or a smaller role. We'll have to wait and see. But I don't get the obsession person, and I don't get the obsessively loving him and completely despising Sadler. I just think
because it's like
it's a weird move.
People turned it into like a versus thing. Like it's like I love DJ, and to me Sadler hates him because he's not playing him. Fuck Sadler, like it's all DJ.
And that was the songs we were literally singing.
People were singing
He
Danny
hates
Johnson.
Sadler.
Oh man.
And you're like, this is so toxic. Like, this is how we behave when we're almost in the playoffs.
And one striker that was mediocre.
If by some miracle you're watching this as a non-Walsall fan, that just gives you a little window into the psyche. But let's move on to something more positive. So The third thing I want to touch on, I think the third probably biggest storyline of the season, if you can look at it that way, was we had Sadler, we had DJ, and then I think Jamil Mat, and the turnaround from being derided by many, including us,
booed when he came on,
and sometimes probably a bit harshly, because I thought he really he looked just completely shot, like a different player, different human being. And then the sort of the comeback, it's like Rocky stuff, isn't it? I mean,
amazing. So
did you think you would see that out of Jammer?
No, I thought he'd retire. I thought he was just gonna come on as a sub and then retire at the end of this season type thing. But no, I'm so happy for him. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing to see that turnaround.
It is a beautiful story.
It's like one of the most like with Sadler, it was like people were skeptic anyway. Like I already said from the start, they were like, I don't really like him. The majority were like, nah. And then the majority of people are like, yeah, I love DJ. Whereas with Jamil Mat obviously came in last season, he didn't perform that well. After he was obviously he came off a mad injury. Obviously, this is what's been to do with it. But yeah, it's such a polarising player. Like, you know what I mean? He went from being booed when he comes on to like everyone screaming for him and
standing ovation,
and bit of captain as well.
Absolutely,
he was captain for a while.
He's a great leader. I mean, what a turnaround!
Him and Daniel's definitely captain next season for me.
It's outrageous. Like, we've signed him for 2 more years.
Yeah.
What a turnaround! Like you said, I thought his career at Walsall would peter out, and then maybe he'd drop to non-league, maybe, because when you have a injury that severe,
that's what I mean,
you never know if you're ever going to come back. And like, he went from being, like one of the best strikers in League Two, to then having that League One campaign and getting injured, and then for us, he just looked like it was like he was a player was gone. He wasn't the same person anymore.
It's mad.
And that's why he was getting so much hate. And looking back, it was probably a bit harsh, but
definitely was. I feel harsh.
That was one of the times when I was hating Sadler as well, though, because I was like, I can't believe he played any ball. I mean, he's gone. The Jamil Mat that we used to know, isn't him anymore. But now it's like he's just turned it around completely. He's on and off the pitch. He looks like
mad.
All the players look up to him, the young players, and he's scoring goals, he's assisting, he's holding the ball up, he's strong, he's putting the work in. He might not. He's never going to be Sergio Aguero. He's never going to be running in behind with pace, but
he's doing his job.
His job really well. I think it's a beautiful, probably the best story of the season in a way.
I'd say so. The best turnaround of the season, 1000%.
Well, let's talk about the players that have impressed us. That are sort of players of the season, I guess. Who would you say, if you had to name one or two, would you say have been the brightest stars?
There's been so many ups and downs. Well, I already know who you've got written down, so I'm not going to say either of those two because I would have said those two.
You can have one of mine.
Nah. I'll go on then. Yeah. I'll have Hutch then. Yeah. Nah, Hutch is incredible.
Hutch is an obvious one for all of us, isn't it?
Top scorer, 12 goals.
Although again, maybe not. Gets a lot of hate.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Especially on the terraces. I don't know about on Twitter so much, but on the terraces. God.
Yeah.
For someone who is easily the most technical player in the team and definitely the most gifted player in the squad.
100%.
Gets
both
a
those things.
lot of hate.
Top scorer, player of the year award, but he's like, it's the consistency, you know? And he just does people's heads in when they see the talent and then does our heads in the, you know what I mean? It's like,
it annoys people when he loses the ball, I think.
I think that's mainly it. It's the
and
losing
he's a bit
the
lightweight, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's not physical like at all, really.
But I don't think it really matters.
I don't think it matters, but that's what I'm saying. They want to see someone like Knowles, you know what I mean, just going into people, bang, bang, all the time. Yeah.
And the passion, or it's that thing again, and it's the sort of performative side of it. Like that. I remember back in the day when Ozil played for Arsenal, and there was always that thing about he doesn't run and he's lazy and he's got no, his body language is terrible. And then they looked at the stats and his running numbers were like the best in the squad and one of the best in the league.
Yeah, but
he doesn't look like he's doing anything, but he's doing a lot more than the naked eye can see.
I think that's definitely the case with Hutch because, like you say,
he cares and he tries. He's just
he wouldn't be playing for us. Like many people have said, he wouldn't be playing for us if he was more consistent. He'd be League One, maybe Championship. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the
and
stuff
who knows
he can
where
do.
He can go. He's still young.
He's like, he's the biggest threat. Like technically, definitely in our squad.
Well, you've highlighted the supporters player of the year. I'm going to highlight the lounge members player of the year.
Ooh.
Which I don't know what that means, but it sounds pretty saucy to be fair.
Sounds tasty.
Sounds like a sort of, I don't know, it just sounds a bit funny.
Exclusive.
But anyway, he is loved by the lounge members. They love him. And that's Liam Gordon.
Oh, I love him
thought
as
he
well.
was, for me, it was hard to choose between him and Brandon Comley. Because I think I love Hutch and I love his flair and his, long range goals and his skill, and he's definitely the most talented player. But Comley and Gordon are like the most hard-working, reliable, consistent, tactically aware.
Yeah. And gifted.
Don't get me wrong. I mean,
just
Gordon
below
is
Hutch, really.
class in what he does.
I think
beating players,
Comley's
especially.
pace and instinct and the way he gets to things, like he's probably the top that leads that. But then Gordon's like all round. He's like in the middle of Hutch and Comley. I think Gordon, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
He's
and
got
Hutch is more
he's got the skill.
flashy, isn't he?
But
People
and Hutch
notice
has got
that
the
more than
mad
what
flair
Comley
and the free kicks and
But without Conley's interceptions
Gordon.
and his tackles and everything he does in the middle of the park, we wouldn't see any of that other stuff for Hutch and Gordon. So Conley deserves a mention, but I think you've got Hutch, I've got Gordon for the ability, like the way he goes past players. The crosses are almost always on point.
Like we've said many
Sometimes
times.
he can be a little bit shy. He could take on players a bit more.
But he
still does it plenty. It ain't like he's Jack Grealish who comes back on himself every single time. He does go at players. He does do stuff.
And he's growing as well. He's still really young and he's growing. He's got an international career that he's building up as well. It's amazing, man. And Comley.
Yes,
and
exactly.
Daniels, you know what I mean? It's like
the international dance.
Come on.
That's my dream one day, is to see like a Guyana match or something with Liam Gordon. That would be so cool.
So cool. Yeah, that'd be amazing. In Guyana.
Oh yeah, can you imagine?
Incredible stuff.
Let's.
I do want to mention
another honourable mention.
Obviously, Draper stands out, but he's just a lone player. And
he's a half-season Charlie, isn't he?
That's it. Just
does
like
he deserve our love?
Does he deserve? He does not.
Nah, not really. I'm over
it. Folks stood out as a young player.
Yeah, when he had the chance, I liked him a lot.
When every chance he got, I think he shone, to be fair. There was only a couple of mistakes he made.
I always thought he could have been playing ahead of Knowles a lot.
Yeah.
But for some reason he wasn't given the chance. But I always thought when he came on, he was at least as good, if not better.
Yeah. I feel like overall this squad this year is more like everyone's putting in a shift, like we saw with... Got loads of goals coming from defenders all over the field. We've got people chipping in, which was great to see. So it was just... It's hard to pick out, except for the ones we already have.
Yeah. But like you said, from front to back, everyone's chipping in on the front foot and on the back foot. We're all defending together, we're all scoring together. We could do a better job on the defending. Hopefully next year we'll do that.
Yeah.
A lot of it will be to do with the shape as well, because I think that the players we've had haven't necessarily been bad, but maybe that's where Sadler needs to improve. He needs to improve. If he can get this team conceding less goals, I think we'll have a real shout at automatic promotion.
Yeah, 100%.
Because if we wrap up by looking at the sort of ins and outs, the released and retained, we can see that there's definitely a really strong core there, especially in the forward positions to do exciting stuff. And we just need to get that defence wrapped up a little bit. But this is basically all the stuff that's gone on since they released the list on the 17th of May. So Douglas James Taylor's gone on loan to Drogheda. I'm fine with that. Like I'm not too high or low on him. Like I think he would have been a decent squad. I would have maybe kept him around in the squad as an option, but it's not the end of the world if he's going on loan. Maybe he'll score some goals over there, get a bit of confidence maybe.
Yeah. And if we need him in January, we can always, or whatever goes on,
Tom Knowles released and then picked up by FGR in the National League. That surprised me.
Yeah, that surprised me a lot as well. And
I was calling for him to be dropped a lot. I don't think he should be starting, but
folks kind of...
He could be in the squad, I think.
Folks over him, but... Yeah, he should have definitely stayed in League 2, surely. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But I think it's more about the pay. I think Forest Green are probably offering more than most League 2 clubs that he'd be kind of settling for. And he's from down there by like Yeovil and that, so... Yeah, I think it just makes more sense to him.
joint decision, I guess. But from our
Yeah.
point of view, I wouldn't have minded seeing him stick around in the squad.
Same.
And like you say, I am surprised to see him drop to the National League. But I suppose the idea, it's like a Wrexham type thing, isn't it? They'll probably pay a lot of money because that Deovin's
wanna get
guy
out.
tends to pump a lot of money in, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And they'll want to come straight back up, and they probably will. Evans released.
Yeah.
Yep. So
I mean, yeah.
I mean, he was once
When he's good, he's amazing.
the
but
apple
then,
of our eye, wasn't he? But
yeah, I used to love him. Oh,
Feels
Jackson
like a-
Smith. That's who I wanted to mention. Another young player who's like really shone for us. Like,
What's happening with Smith?
I don't know, man.
Because was he on loan?
He's offered. No, he's our player, but he was offered another thingy,
Another deal?
a contract, but it's all just undecided at the moment.
It's like
so
ongoing. Because I
I
mean,
really hope he stays.
if we don't keep him, that's not going to be great, is it? Because if Evans
we need
has
two
left,
keepers, yeah. We're gonna need two keepers anyway, really.
I mean, I'm not bothered about losing
Oh.
Evans because I think he's dropped off dramatically. I wouldn't even want him as a backup, really.
yeah.
I don't know
mean, it
where he's
sounds
going to
bad.
end up next.
Yeah.
I think there's a player in there, but
That's
he
what I
needs
was
to get
about
his
to
confidence
say.
back.
There's definitely a player in there, but maybe he just needs to just switch the settings, just find a new club, and
Yeah.
we just need to get
Another
someone.
League Two club wouldn't surprise me, and there'd be
We
nothing wrong with
definitely
that.
need one solid, proven keeper, and then
I mean, if we could have
depending on
Smith,
Jackson Smith, yeah.
I'd love that.
another backup.
And then Ote and Menayese released. Not too much to say on that, really.
yeah,
We have got also, sorry, of course,
Pretty expected.
Fal, Kagboe, Tierney, Adegboyega, and Josh Gordon have all gone back to their parent clubs,
yeah, it's a shame.
which is fine.
they're all
expected.
great players, but expected. You know,
And I don't
would have kept
necessarily
any
see
of them.
us getting to bring any of them back.
Doesn't
The
look
ones
like it.
we'd want. The problem is obviously the ones you'd want to bring back for another season
Yeah,
will be too good, and they'll play in League One and so
that's
on.
it. Yeah.
The defenders that we brought in, especially, but
yeah.
I mean, could we get Josh Gordon on a permanent? I mean, especially if we're looking for a striker backup, could
I
be a
think
good shout. If
It'd be a good
DJT's out on loan,
striker backup, yeah. But I think we do need a main striker, but like a proper.
well, we've got
Don.
Big Jammer, 2-year
Yeah.
deal.
I mean,
I wouldn't mind seeing a bit of him.
I mean,
and
him
Gordon.
and someone else, and then we got Johnson and someone else as backup type thing, which could be Gordon. You
If
know
we
what I
could
mean? I
bring
think
in
that'd
a
be great.
good young striker to
what I
play
mean,
with
like,
Matt, because I wouldn't
not
want
too young,
Matt and
but
DJ. That would be terrible.
young, but on kind of prime-ish kind of.
Yeah, young-ish and promising and pacey.
Yeah, pacey.
Because then you got the big man, little man, classic EFL combo.
Yeah, that'd be.
Whereas
perfect.
with DJ, I mean, there'd be no legs in that front line. Then you need legs
No.
in that front line.
Exactly,
If
man.
Matt is, because
Yeah.
as much as I love Matt now, he's still not the quickest.
That's it.
So there's that, and Weir, who we signed from Drogheda,
yeah,
he's going to be on the books.
Yeah,
So
we'll see how
we're
he
going to
does.
have this core of
we got Hutch.
Matt, Weir, Comley, Daniels, Earing, Farquharson, Liam Gordon, Hutch, Jamie Jellis, DJ, Mayer, McKinty, and Sturk.
Class.
And I think that's a really
McKinty's
decent.
Another player I could have mentioned as well, because he's just for
That's
when
a
he
nice
did play.
sort of pretty much a starting 11 there. And then
Yeah,
you just
if everyone's fit, that's
gotta
basically a starting 11, and then
bring in another 8 or 10 to sort of boost it up, bring up some academy lads. There's also a few question marks here that I just couldn't find a definitive answer on Google or
Yeah,
Twitter,
yeah.
which is Allen and Folks and
yeah.
Smith
I'd really keep Allen. Definitely keep Allen. Definitely keep Smith.
and Folks.
And definitely keep Folks. Yeah.
I don't know if they're negotiating with them or if I'm missing something.
Well,
but
they are good players, so maybe they're getting poached or something. But who
if we
knows?
could get all of them in,
If we could
that's
get all
like
of them-
14. And not
Yeah.
other than Mayer, who I don't necessarily think is good enough to
yeah.
start.
If we're pushing for the playoffs, then yeah, we need to sign
The
other
rest
people
of them
and not
players
start
are
people
like they're
Mayer, but-
all proper players. They're not just sort of many essays and
Yeah.
shit. Like they're proper. They're good enough all to start pretty much.
Definitely.
So I think if you add another 10, mix it up with a bunch of other signings. I mean, we've got every chance of pushing up for the promotion places in it. But
That's it, man.
we'll get that hype train
Wicked.
going in July though.
Yeah, the next one will cover all that.
Because hopefully by July, or at least by the end of the Euros, we should have seen some transfer activity.
Hopefully, yeah.
Have you seen on Twitter just the daily sort of
Where's the
announce
signings?
someone announce?
Where's the signings?
I gotta say, I
It's just
love
'cause
the
other
Walsall social
other
media
teams-
team's brilliant though, I think, when it comes to transfers. don't you?
yeah, they're class, man.
They
yeah.
are class.
And I like how they leave it till last minute a bit. Like, I rate that. Obviously, unless you've got a million signings to do, then you're going to start signing them early because it's something to announce, and you need to work on it from the get-go. But we don't need to sign that many. So
nah, we just need to sprinkle some in.
Yep.
And I wouldn't mind, like I said, promoting a couple of academy lads, because if we could have, if we could sign another like 6 or 8, then we'd have about 20, 21 good proper players, and then just add a few kids, and then you're sorted and ready for a season, basically.
That's it, man. That's it. Yeah. So,
but yeah, I guess let's wrap up 2023-24 before we come on too much to the future.
Yeah, that's it.
How would you sum up the season in one word?
Oh my God, don't do that. I'm going to be umming and ahhing for like 10 minutes. Eventful.
Mine would be Mo-Foul. So I'm Craig and this is Joe. We've been from Poundland to Paradise again. Please check us out on all the socials. Joe, tell them about the socials.
From Poundland to Paradise on all socials except for Twitter, where it's a Walsall FC pod. And yeah, please like, comment, share, subscribe, all those things. Helps us carry on with this. If you enjoy it, tell your friends, all that kind of stuff. And we'll see you in the next one.
We'll be back next month.
Next month, next season.
Up the Sadlers. Peace.
Peace.